Yo, you like driving at night? You like driving at night or during the day? What's your favorite time of driving?
I do not like driving at night. So
Good.
I have to say,
Good.
I have to say daytime.
That sucks. Why? It just sucks that right now we're driving at night and you fucking hate it now. Why do you hate driving at night? What's wrong with driving at night?
As I've gotten older, my eyes have gotten worse, and it's just not unpleasant.
What happens?
Plus, there's a lot of deer around here. So,
and what did the deer do? They give you the evil eye or something?
They commit suicide right in front of you and hit you with their their bodies.
How many times that happened to you?
I've hit deer probably about 4 times in my life.
And that's because you can't see at night?
No.
So what did the deer got to do with it?
A couple of them were at night and a couple were during the day, but they're much harder to see at night now for me. So
what happens during the day? You're blind also during the day?
Well, that was ages ago. There was just
so you don't hit them during the day.
There was just a whole herd of them out in a field that just jumped right in front of me and out from behind some trees, and and it wasn't even my vehicle, so that was fun.
Dude, you know what would really suck is if you lived in the city like me and you had to drive at night. You know what you would be hitting? People. Fuck the deer. There's fucking people here.
Yeah.
Like I know like where you are, there's like hardly any people, but there's like a lot of deer. Guess what? Here, there's people.
Yeah.
There's so many people that you'd be running them over, especially if you didn't see them at night.
Especially.
Don't you love when people say especially? There's people that say especially, and they have no fucking idea that the word is especially. They're just like, yeah, especially when, especially. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is that, right?
Or standard and specific.
Standard?
Standard and specific.
What's standard and specific?
Instead of standard and Pacific time.
Oh, really? That's what they say? Standard and I never heard that. Standard and specific.
For all intensive purposes.
All intensive care purposes.
All intensive care purposes. A whole nother. Well, nother is fine. That's just you doing an apostrophe, and I say nother. Do it a whole nother time. Expresso.
Espresso's funny. You know why people say that? Because they're so stupid, number one. But number two, they say that because there's fucking places that make signs that say Expresso. Like they sell it. So people see it written and they're like, I'll have an espresso, please.
Expresso.
I'll have it fast. I want it expressly fast. Espresso.
It's weird.
Well, an espresso is actually a real thing. An espresso is a properly made pulled coffee drink, preferably by Italians, your people, right? But an espresso is some shit that you made at home on the stovetop using that fake little pot. What do they call them? Mocha pots? Yeah. That's an espresso.
I see.
I mean, technically it's not, but that's what people really like. I'll have an espresso. Can you make me one? Like, no, I don't do that shit. You like espressos?
No.
No. What kind of fucking?
I don't like espresso. I don't like espresso.
Why not?
It's just too thick and bitter. Just it's too much. Like I like coffee flavor, but I don't.
That means you never had a real one. Then.
It just maybe, but I mean everybody says that, and it's bitter. Fucking.
Well, let me ask you this:
food.
How many times in your life have you tried it?
Well, when I traveled to Kiev, that's basically all they served me over there is like espresso.
Really, that's all they have there?
Unless they have, I mean, some places you can ask for an Americano and they'll give you what would be close to a regular coffee.
You know what's funny about Americano? That's not even a real thing. Somebody made that up.
No, that's definitely it's an overseas thing because Americans don't know how to order coffee.
Yeah, all they did was someday some dumb fuck took an espresso and they put water in it. And here you go, you stupid American.
Yeah.
And they called that an Americano.
Yeah. Yeah. They put water in it, and then they assume you're going to want cream and maybe some sugar. So
right. So if you want to look like a dumb tourist,
espresso.
You want to look like the dumbest tourist in the world, ask for an Americano in another country. Yeah. But like, so I mean, they only pulled fucking espressos for you over there?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, it was just this thick, bitter. And it may have been good. It may have not been good. I don't know. But I just don't drink that heavy. I mean, regular coffee's fine for me. That's all I need.
Nothing like Russia, a piece of ancient Russia, Kiev, to fucking explain to you what the fucking espresso is, huh?
Right.
Fuck Italy. Fuck France. Fuck even Spain. You know. Fuck. Just go straight to Mother Russia, where fucking Kiev can give you a fucking espresso. You know, I learned what a fucking espresso was because all the Italianos over here in Brooklyn, they always have these little fancy places, and they pull espresso. They have these big fancy machines. Not everybody's gonna know how to make it right. If you get like some dope who's only been there for a week, but if you get like the old fuck who knows what the fuck he's doing and he wants it right, he'll fucking do it for you. And you get a taste, and then you at least got like a baseline where you're like, okay, let me see.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, all right, so this is what it is. Because, I mean, look, if you have a cappuccino, all that is an espresso with foamed milk. And that's basically considered breakfast in Italy. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So,
right.
You know, because people, they don't drink coffee like we do. Like to wake up at fucking lunch so you can go back to work, you know?
Right.
So like one day I got kind of like, yo, let me see what this espresso is all about. So it's gotta be pulled at a certain grain. It's gotta be ground properly, fine but not too fine, right? And then it's gotta have a certain number of bars of pressure, like 8 to 10 bars of pressure. Your machine has to pull, otherwise it's gonna be all wrong. And then it pulls for like, you know. If you're doing 2 to 4 ounces of it, it'll take like a good 10 to 15 seconds, and then you could see it come out. And if it comes out wrong, you'll know. You're like, oh, and then they throw it right in the garbage. If they see it's wrong, they're like, nah, no good. That's no good. And then they fucking do it again until you could see.
Yeah,
because you got to watch the golden crema form as it's pouring onto the top, and the foam has to be just right, and it has to pull for the right amount of time, and then they're like, okay, it's good, this one is good, and then they'll give it to you. And if you don't know that, then you don't know, you haven't even had a fucking espresso in your life. You've had espressos.
I appreciate people who are really into that stuff. I mean, I get it. But
it's called coffee. Like that's what coffee was.
I didn't even
before fucking Americans started pulling drips at Dunkin' Donuts. You know what I mean?
And honestly, I don't give a fuck because to me, like I didn't even start drinking coffee until college. And before that, it always felt like when I had coffee, it just made me super jittery. And it took me a while of actually having coffee for that to kind of go away a little bit. And then still, even if I have too much coffee in a day, I get all kind of fucking whacked out. And so it's just not, it's, I mean, people who are into coffee, they know all this stuff, like what you just said. And to me, I know a bad cup of coffee when I have one, and instant is absolute garbage. But,
the question is, do you know a good one when it comes to
I probably don't.
You don't even know a good you need to be reintroduced to proper standards.
Why? I enjoy the coffee that I do drink, and I'm happy. So what's the problem?
I don't know. You tell me. Is this going to turn into a therapy session? I'm just saying, you don't know the fucking standards of what coffee is, and you're like, hey, that's okay. I don't need to know. I'll just eat this shit that I like because I'm happy. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, seriously, like, if you give a fuck about standards, like, is everything else a standard in your life that you don't fucking know about and you don't give a fuck because you're happy? Like, that's not how life works. Like, life has to be like, hey, do you even know what a good one is? Nah, I'm happy. Okay, that's interesting. I just would think coffee.
I don't see how with something so subjective as preferences of taste.
Why is it subjective? It's not subjective. It's perfectly objective. Yeah, the standard of coffee.
Well, what if you tell me this is a good cup of coffee and then I taste it and I go, I don't like that.
Well, you don't like it. Who gives a shit if you don't? I'm just saying you're trying to make it sound like it's subjective, but it's not.
Now what a quote unquote good cup of coffee is. and I don't like a good cup
Who
of coffee.
gives a fuck if you like it or not? This has nothing to do with you and your subjective liking. It's like you don't even know
You're the one
what
who
a
said-
standard is. Like you don't have to fucking like it. You just don't
I
fucking
give a
know.
fuck. Yeah. So what?
I don't know. I'm just explaining to you. You as a person have no fucking idea. End of story. You could live and die without that fucking knowledge. I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying you are saying that you don't give a fuck. So that's it. Okay, good for you. That's like you drive a car. I don't know what a good car is, but this one takes me to the fucking supermarket, so I'm happy.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool. But you fucking decide specifically what fucking car you want because that makes you happy. Yet, you know what I'm saying? So it's all subjective. But it's not subjective. It's objective. Every car manufacturer has an objective reality as to what fucking car works within a certain number of fucking ability to create in a financial situation. Everything is 100% objective. The only subjective shit is you experiencing the shit. Nobody cares if you like it or not. Look at science. These motherfuckers that talk about how science has to be the pinnacle of what's objective because there's zero subjectivity to science to make science science. Subjectivity doesn't exist. Nobody gives a fuck what you experience in science. It's objective. But what's funny is they have to have these standards. They don't give a fuck if you like it or what you experience. You might as well not exist subjectively. So what does science say? There has to be something objective, and we don't give a fuck if you like it or not. But in order to say that you have any semblance of reality, could you go around saying that I don't fucking trust science or believe in science? I only believe in what I feel, so go fuck yourself? No. Because then you sound like a fucking crazy person, right? So that's all I'm saying. There's a difference. It doesn't mean you have to. It's just like, nobody gives a shit if you like the coffee. Starbucks reinvented coffee standards, okay? They made $1 bajillion because they figured out how to do that. They didn't do that subjectively. They don't give a fuck if you step in there. They don't want your business if you don't like it. Because you know why? They already made $1 bajillion of everybody who likes it. And the reason why other coffee still exists to a higher standard is because Starbucks brought the standard up way higher in the last 20 years. And then you can thank them for that shit that you don't give a fuck because it's objective fucking standards that you don't like. That's reality. You see what I'm saying?
I guess.
Yeah, you should fucking guess.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but you don't give a fuck about coffee. You're a coffee fan. You are a coffee fan, okay? But you don't give a fuck about coffee being good or great or nothing. You're just happy with wherever the fuck you drink, which is who the fuck knows what. It's very interesting.
Well.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you learned something about coffee.
I mean, so let me ask you this.
Yeah, please ask me something before we crash into a fucking deer at night because we both can't fucking see because we got pre-diabetes and glaucoma kicking in.
What are the things that quote unquote make a good coffee? Like, what's the best coffee and why?
I don't know what the best coffee is. I don't give a fuck what the best coffee is.
What are the standards?
That's all
You're talking
subjective.
about standards. You're talking about standards. You're saying, a good cup of coffee and not good cup of coffee.
Okay, number one, what do you know? Let me ask you if you could answer.
I know nothing.
You know nothing. Okay, so that makes sense because you buy shit
I'm 5 years
coffee.
old.
You're that guy, Jimmy, in that movie Pulp Fiction where he's like, I only buy good coffee. My wife, she buys shit. That's you. But actually, you don't give a fuck if your wife buys shit. You fucking drink whatever. So the thing about standards of coffee is, A, is it rotten or not? Number one. B, they say the coffee has mold in it. Fuck if I know if it's got fucking mold in it. Chances are, if you don't give a fuck about coffee and you're not paying extra for some special coffee, it's got mold in it. Who gives a shit? Whatever. C, right? C, you have to have a particular roast that you either like or dislike. So that's all on you. So is it roasted correctly? Because you could start a coffee company tomorrow, roast it, all wrong, sell it to everybody, and everyone tells you, hey, you know, maybe this business isn't for you. You'll be out of business in about 2 months. You don't know nothing. So that's got to be a proper roast, okay?
Yeah.
And then C, the motherfucker who grinds it and then brews it has to know what they're doing. And then it has to be served within a timely manner since it's fucking brewed, and then you taste it. So those are the general guidelines. Like, you could fuck that up maybe in like Guatemala where, you know, you don't know where the coffee is. It's in a bag behind a hut somewhere, let's say, or right off the donkey. You're hoping it's fucking good, and maybe they roasted it. I don't know. But here, it's already bagged up to perfection, to high standards since the fucking 70s, because everybody's making $1 billion because of Starbucks. You know? So, like, you tell me, are you getting all those experiences? Probably. Thank you, Starbucks. You know what I mean? Because they created a standard. Because when you go there, let me ask you one question before you speak. And you should be able, if you just think about it, if you don't know the answer, you should be able to answer this. Why do you think Starbucks was so successful? What is the main reason?
I honestly don't know.
Okay, well, and when I tell you, you're going to be like, oh, I should have known that.
Yeah.
The reason is when you go in there, if you like what they serve, the reason why Starbucks is successful is when you go in there, when you ordered the one thing or the two things or the three fucking things that you order all week, whatever, at different times that you like, every mother fucking time you get it, it's exactly the fucking same. And if it's not, because they fucked it up, you have all the right to tell them, nah, this is no good. Do it again. Because the baristas are fucking trained to a T to do everything exactly. And if they can't, they don't fucking work there. Before Starbucks, that did not exist. That is the only reason. That's why. Because it used to be willy-nilly, hit or miss. It's okay. You know, fucking Mario made this fucking cappuccino. It's not as good as when Luigi fucking made it. That's the only reason. Right. Who cares what Starbucks does? The thing is consistency.
Right.
That's all it is. That's the only reason Starbucks exists. And before them, motherfucking nobody was smart enough to make a consistent thing.
Well, I mean, I appreciate all that. I do.
Well, you should. It's called business.
Yeah. I mean, and I get it. I get what you're saying.
You don't have to like it.
Well, like, dislike.
9 out of 10 people I know don't like Starbucks.
I really don't like their coffee.
So somebody's making millions of dollars over there somehow, but 9 out of 10 people I know don't like it.
Yeah. I just, you know, I think it's the fact that it took me so long to start enjoying coffee at all. You know, because like I said, I didn't start drinking coffee till college.
And what do you drink even, you know? Is it black coffee with nothing in it? Is it even considered? It's not. So what you drink is technically not even coffee. It's some kind of flavored bullshit.
Well, it's coffee with some creamer in it.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, you know. But, you know.
And the creamer, just, like what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like people would tear that shit apart. It's
cream.
Like, dude, that's...
Milk, cream.
Okay.
Half and half.
So half and half. Okay, that's acceptable.
Whatever, you know. But, you know, I just never... I never liked the really bitter stuff, and it seems like anytime I get it, you know, the regular coffees that Starbucks has, you know, the stuff that they, you know, obviously now you can go to Starbucks now and order like an Americano, you know, you can go into there and they've got it on the fucking board or whatever.
Yeah, and it's funny because they legitimized the Americano, whereas the Americano is a joke.
Yeah, you know.
As a matter of fact, I'll tell you something funny. I cannot stand Starbucks regular coffee because I don't like drip coffee. Number one, I don't like the way the coffee tastes when it's drip brewed. Number two, I went in there. I didn't even know what Americano was until Starbucks. So then they would serve Americanos. Oh. So I would always order an Americano. And I would watch what they did. And I'm like, oh, so they put a fucking... And I would get a 20-ouncer. So what they do is they put a double espresso in a cup. And then they slowly pour hot water until the cup is full. And I'm like, oh, so I'm drinking a watered-down espresso. That's why this tastes good, because it's not their disgusting drip coffee. And honestly, that's all I ever drank at fucking Starbucks if it wasn't an espresso.
Oh.
So that's all I drink is Americano, the dumb shit.
Okay.
But I don't remember the last time I've been in a Starbucks.
Yeah, you make your own. And I've had your coffee, and I like it.
Yeah, and technically
the
it's not even mine coffee. It's just some shit I buy and then I brew it, you know?
Well,
like it's not my coffee. I just
I do think that, you know, my tastes are at least refined enough to tell the difference between coffee that's been ground already and then the stuff that you grind fresh before you brew it. You know, that you know, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, like I will never go back to like some shit that's pre-ground.
You know, because some asshole at fucking McDonald's makes their coffee. That stuff is shit.
Yeah.
You know, the other coffees that Starbucks has.
7-Eleven.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
That's all, you know, that stuff's been sitting on a burner or it's just been
even though they put them in those carafes right away, they taste like shit.
Yep.
They taste like some kind of fucking burnt fucking roach liquid.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I don't have an interest in learning all the extra stuff that goes to coffee, but I kind of know what I like, and I definitely know what a bad cup of coffee tastes like. But, you know, when they're super strong, somebody might say, well, this was brewed with this, and it's this type of roast, and it's, you know, with all that stuff that you said, and it just won't matter to me. It's just like I'm drinking this because, you know, I want to have a nice flavor in my mouth.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
It's just not a nice flavor to me.
If you don't taste like a flavor, then you're like, wow.
But I also
really
don't like
good.
beer. Like, people go ape shit over beer. I hate beer.
Beer is disgusting. Beer. Like, why would anybody even drink beer?
Yeah,
you know, beer is like you're not supposed to like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll eat like, you know, 90% dark chocolate though, and that's super bitter, and that doesn't bother me as much. But I don't eat a ton of that either. So, you know,
yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. You know, the other thing is taste buds are subjective too. Like, to me,
absolutely
90. I eat 90% Lindt chocolate.
Yeah,
and to me, that's not even bitter. You know what I mean? It's just that I don't eat sugary things, so I'm like, I don't. You know what else I eat? I eat fermented cacao nibs, which is before it even turns into chocolate. You want bitter? Eat some of that. It tastes like you're eating fucking cat shit that you found in the street, but it's actually fucking chocolate.
Fucking gross.
That's fucking bitter. And to me, that's not even bitter. Like, I always warn people, oh, what the fuck you eating? I'm like, trust me, you don't want this. You're going to immediately spit it out. Trust me.
Right. Fucking bitter.
Did I ever tell you the first time I ever drank coffee?
No. What happened the first time you drank coffee, asshole?
It's a funny story. So, like, my parents had company, and I was probably, I don't know, 6 years old or some shit like this. You know, and I'm just like watching, and it's like late at night for some reason. Some friends came over, and they're having like a little like coffee with dessert, hanging out and talking. Maybe they watch TV or some shit. I don't know. And they were like, whatever. And then maybe it started getting late, and then their friends were leaving. So it was like maybe 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they had the fucking the silver fucking coffee set, the silver trays out with the fucking coffee cups and the milk and shit like that. And they all left, and they're all saying goodbye outside. And I'm looking, and I'm like, yo, what is this shit that they're drinking? I was like, let me try some of it. They were having so much fun drinking this shit, you know? And I was like, let me try this. So I took some coffee, and I put it in a cup, and I put some milk in it. And then I tasted it, and immediately I winced. I was like, oh, this is fucking disgusting. So then I put sugar in it. I put 1 teaspoon of sugar in it, and then I took a taste, and I was like, this is fucking disgusting. So I mixed it really good, and I tasted it, and I was like, oh, this is fucking disgusting. So then I put another sugar, and then I tasted it, and I was like, oh, this is fucking disgusting. And then I was like, oh, come on, how much sugar am I going to put in this? So then I put a third fucking tea, and there's like there's only like less than half a cup of coffee in there with milk. I put so much sugar in there and kept tasting it that it was so disgusting that now there was a mountain of sugar coming out the top of it that wouldn't mix, and it still tasted disgusting to me. And I was like, fuck this. I was like, I don't know what you people are drinking is gross. So that was me drinking coffee for the first time.
Yeah, that just goes to show that sugar literally can't fix everything.
No, you're not supposed to be drinking coffee too. That's the other thing.
No.
So then the next time I think I ever tried coffee, because I never had coffee. I was not a coffee guy. I didn't even realize that caffeine was necessary for people to function. Was one day in college, I was like, oh, you know, people drink coffee and shit to stay awake. I was like, let me get this instant coffee. And I got like, what do they call that one? Taster's Choice.
Taster's Choice.
That's the one. That's the one that's like, if you're gonna get a real instant coffee, like in the 90s, the only good one is Taster's Choice, and you could tell it's in the name. It's in the name,
right?
Taster's Choice. That should be their ad. Taster's Choice. It's in the name. You fuck.
It's in the name.
You dumb fuck.
What are you, stupid?
Right, you stupid fuck. It's in the name. Get Taster. So what I did is I took a tiny little fucking coffee cup. That's the other thing that boggles my mind. People have these giant mugs. Your coffee cup is supposed to be 6 to 8 ounces, and you're supposed to sip that. And if that ain't enough for you, you've gone to somewhere where it's too much, bro. Like, you need to rein it in. I used to drink 20-ounce cups of Americano. I could drink 8 of those in 4 hours, and I'd be fine. But now I'm like, yeah, that's kind of stupid, like, to tell you the truth. You drink 6 to 8 ounces in a proper coffee cup. That's all you're really supposed to. You want more? Wait till later, have another one. So I took 2 teaspoons of this Taster's Choice. I put it in the hot water.
Yeah.
And it got all frothy like an espresso. And I was like, holy shit, yeah, I think that's probably too much. It's probably too thick, but let me taste it. And like that little frothy shit on top that's like an espresso, it was actually really good. But then as soon as you taste the thick, dark, bitter shit, it's like, ugh. So then I was like, all right, what am I going to do with this? I don't want to waste it, but I want to drink it. So then I took Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream, and I took...
You went all out.
Well, it's like you would put creamer in it, right? But I decided I wanted to put sugar and milk, but I'm going to do it via Haagen-Dazs. And think about it, Haagen-Dazs ice cream, it's 4 ingredients. You know, it's like, might as well just be, it's better than creamer. So I took Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream, took like 2 fucking huge teaspoons till the shit kind of got mocha, you know? And then I drank that. It was the most fucking delicious shit I've ever had that was and you know, if you think about it, if you ever had coffee ice cream, that's basically what it tastes like. It tastes, coffee ice cream is unbelievable. Like, I could eat like 8 pounds of that until my fucking ass falls off.
I like coffee ice cream a lot.
That's what it is. Like, and that's, Starbucks knows that everyone likes coffee. So they'll sell you frappa fucking bullshits that tastes like coffee ice cream. And then you'll think you're buying coffee, but you're eating fucking Frappuccino melted coffee ice cream. And then by next year, you're going to have a heart attack. And you don't know why. Right. It's because you're going to Starbucks. So anyway, that cup of coffee that I made with Taster's Choice and Haagen-Dazs, that shit, I couldn't believe how zooted I was off the caffeine. I was like, oh my God, I am so fucking awake. My mind is racing. I was like, this fucking feels incredible. I was like, oh, I wish it wasn't 10 o'clock at night right now. I just feel like getting in the car and driving and wasting my life away. So that's probably how people feel on meth, you know? So like, because I've never had those receptors fucking like jostled ever before. Like, that was my first hit of caffeine, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. So that was pretty cool. If I try to do that now, it's not the same.
Yeah, my first experience with caffeine, like specifically with caffeine, I was like my freshman year of high school, and we were on the marching band bus on the way back from a show, and I was kind of down. I was kind of tired. And this guy who was a junior or a senior, is a couple years ahead of me. He says, "Well, here, take a couple of these."
And what was it?
It was fucking caffeine pills.
Couple? You had 2 of them?
He said, "Yeah, take a couple of these."
Oh my God, a couple.
Now here you're talking to someone whose only exposure to caffeine for most of his life had been maybe whatever's in some chocolate. I never drank coffee, and I certainly never took any pills.
Dude, did you have both of them?
And I got so sick. I was sweating. I was sweating. My heart was pounding. And he got in trouble because I ended up having to tell him, like, well, he gave me these caffeine pills. And, he's not supposed to be giving me shit, let alone, stuff like that.
Who was this guy?
So, that was like...
He was your coach?
He was a fucking douchebag. Just a fucking douchebag.
He wasn't your fucking steroid dealer?
No, just he's my caffeine dealer.
So it was definitely caffeine. He didn't give you some kind of fucking amphetamine.
Yeah, no, it was definitely caffeine. It was definitely caffeine.
Do you remember the brand? Was it in a packet?
No, it was like in a little white bottle or something.
Oh wow, he was hardcore.
It was probably something like what truckers eat, when they got
it's called meth.
Meth. Yeah, these days it's meth.
No, I did the same thing, but I never got sick because I didn't have a couple. And when you're young,
you're not supposed to take a couple.
No, not at all.
That's wrong.
Not the first time.
The wrong choice.
The first time ever. It's stupid. And I wouldn't have known that, except that a friend of mine back in college, he worked at one of them fucking, I forget what the name of those corner fucking 7-Eleven type stores they had up there. Do you remember the name of those fucking things? They were like Wawas or something like that.
Yes, Wawas or Piggly Wiggly.
No, I don't think I've ever seen
Piggly Wiggly. No, that's a grocery store. That's not.
I think they were called Wawas up there. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But anyway, he fucking worked there, right? So and we used to work out together. And he's the guy who taught me everything about how to fucking lift weights properly. So he knew about Vivarins. And
that's right. I bet what he gave me, they might have been Vivarins.
Must have been.
Now that you said the name.
Yeah, so like at the fucking Wawa where he worked, they would sell in the impulse item fucking area at the fucking counter. They would have little 2-packs of Vivarins that they would sell for like, $1 or whatever, or less probably back then. Who knows? With inflation, it was probably only 65 cents or something. But he was like, yo, one day before we go to the gym, we should fucking try some Vivarin. He's like, I'll get a fucking 2-pack from work. And I'll have one and you'll have one. He's like, what do you say? And I was like, yeah, all right, yeah, let's try that one day. So, we talked about it. Maybe it was like a week or two before we tried it. And then he was like, he had it in his hand like it was drugs. Like it was fucking like he bought his first bag of weed or something. He was like, look what I got, right? So then he cracked that shit open before we went to the gym. He had one, I had one. Let me tell you, we fucking go to the gym. And we went there to do shoulders. And usually when you do shoulders, your shoulders are like a really small, specific muscle group. And you fucking, you have to work them a lot, more frequently to build your shoulders. But you also have to be careful not to overwork them when you work them, right? So, your shoulders day is whatever. And then because you're only doing shoulders, there's only so much you could do because there's so many little muscles around your rotator cuff. Then you usually add something else to shoulders if you don't want to leave yet or whatever. So we do shoulders. We bang out shoulders real hard. And we're like, holy shit, that was fucking crazy. But, what are we going to do now? Like, we're done with shoulders. There's nothing else we can do. So he was like, well, let's just start doing back. And I was like, all right. Now back. Dude, back is literally the biggest collection of fucking muscles on your whole entire body. Back doesn't mean one thing. There's like 39 muscles that go to your back, right? So you could spend 2 hours doing fucking back. So we just banged out shoulders. It took us like 45, 50 minutes or whatever. And then we started fucking back right after that because we're fucking zooted on fucking Vivarin. We're like, we're going to take over the fucking world. We're not fucking tired. Next thing you know, it's an hour after that, and it's like we've been in there for 2 hours, and now we're finishing back with deadlifts. And like we never really deadlifted much, and I'd never deadlifted. I just like had a fucking belt around my fucking waist, and then I would just pick up the weight and see if I could pick it up. And I remember we were doing deadlifts at the end when we were totally exhausted and super tired, and then we just looked at each other at the time, and we're like, dude, we've been here for over 2 hours. We're like, man, we should probably stop. We were just like, yeah, okay. And then we left. But we didn't want to leave because we were on fucking Vivarin. That's how fucking powerful one fucking tablet of fucking Vivarin was. You need to go and burn that shit off. You don't sit somewhere.
I was stuck on a bus.
Yeah,
I was on a
with
bus.
With your fucking heart
and
fluttering in your
I was
neck.
in the back of the bus. I was like it was like the back 2 seats, where you sit where you want to make out with the chicks on the way home. And there was no making out for me. Not for me. Not with my freaking sweaty hands and my pounding heart and my freaking my dilated pupils. Nobody's gonna make out with you in that condition.
Dude, you were like sweating with a fucking arrhythmia. You were hoping somebody had a fucking
my toes were all curled up and shit. You were
about to be like, call 911.
My mental state was questionable. I was gonna die, and I got really angry. And then he got really angry with me for telling them what he had given me. And I'm like, well, they needed to know so that if things got worse, they'd know what was going on with me.
Dude,
he was all
so
pissed off
dangerous.
at me. He called me names, told me I was a loser, that I was never going to amount to anything, all over a couple caffeine pills that he should have never handed me. Son of a bitch.
Unfucking believable. So then what the heck I give you next month?
I didn't talk to him again for like a year.
That motherfucker. He probably turned into a fucking roid dealer.
I don't know, but I think he might be a butcher now.
Oh, he's a butcher. Look at a Whole Foods,
a grocery store, cutting
fucking
meat.
Grocery butcher.
Called me all sorts of names. I could have handled it better. I could have just sucked it up and swept myself and enjoyed the ride. But boy, that was rough.
That's dangerous.
I was young.
You know why?
I was young.
You know why that's so dangerous? Do you know how many fucking milligrams of caffeine is in one of those?
I don't know, but it was too much.
Dude, each pill is...
I could have had a stroke.
Right. Dude, each pill is 200 milligrams. So there's no standards to caffeine per person. It's what you can tolerate. So if you had 400 fucking milligrams and you never had this shit before,
right.
Holy shit. That
was the deal.
That's like close to a hospital visit right there. That guy could have fucking killed you.
Yep. So now I can deal a little better with caffeine. I have quite a bit of coffee every day.
Yeah, you're blunted. I think what happens is over time we get blunted.
Yeah, and so now, driving at night like we are is okay.
Yeah, that's the...
As long as we keep our eyes on the road.
Well, that's the most important fucking thing. Keeping your eyes on the road and not fucking dying.
That's right.
Because you can't fucking stay awake. I'm always with the fucking caffeine right before.
Into a tree.
You got to get into a car like defensively. Make sure you don't fucking kill no. Let's try not to kill nobody. What do you say?
That's right. Let's not run over any old ladies.
Not today, anyways. Unless they jump out like deer.
They flip us off and jump out like a deer. Those agile old ladies, the way they do
those old ladies. Hey, sometimes
they're all sweaty.
Dude, maybe they want to die.
On caffeine.
Maybe they want to die.
They're all on their old people meds and sweating.
Right. You did them a favor.
That's right.
All right,
asshole.
Here we go.